A lot of people who watch our show, John, are excited about the safety advances in current models, and they'd like to take advantage of those advances without buying a new car. And as a case in point, we have a letter from Harry George of Atlanta, Georgia. He's an avid Motorweek viewer. He's noticed that we advocate anti-lock brakes and wants to know if a nationally advertised aftermarket anti-lock braking device is worth the $600 investment. Well, it just might be. But before we get into the specifics of that system, what about anti-lock brakes in general? Well, if they're factory installed, they're going to be electronic. And the way they work is pretty simple. You're going to have a ring such as we see here at each wheel. These rings have notches in them, and there's an electronic sensor that's positioned above these. Each time one of these notches passes that sensor, it sends an electronic signal over here to this. This is the electronic control unit. This is the brains of the system. And if you're involved in a panic stop and one of the wheels on the car ceases to turn, it's locked up, then the signal to the electronic control unit is interrupted. The control unit, in turn, reduces the flow of hydraulic fluid to the brake at that wheel, lets the wheel start to turn, keeps the car in good control. Really a fantastic device. But what about retrofitting a car? Could you take all of these parts and put them onto an older car? No. In addition to all of the things that you see here, there could be all sorts of other parts that would be necessary to convert the car. Here we have a list that was supplied by BMW for a 325. There's about 60 different parts on here that could cost up to $10,000 plus the labor to install it. The labor to install it could be another $10,000. Not practical at all. But what about Harry's specific question here about the aftermarket unit? Well, we got a hold of one of those units and we installed it on this particular car right here. As a matter of fact, it's still on the car. If we look down in the engine bay, we can see right here these two small units by the master cylinder. This is the brake guard safety system. Now, if you buy this, here's what you get. You get the kit. The kit has two of the control units, safety units, one here and one here. You get a box or a package of accessory parts that are used to install this on your particular car. Now, bottom line though, does it work? Well, when we installed it on this car, at first we were a little disappointed in the dry track testing of it. See, what happened was that the brake guard doesn't keep the wheels from locking the way electronic anti-lock brakes do. It does, however, limit the lock enough to return shorter braking distances in pedal-to-floor panic stops. We compared performance in the wet. In a panic stop without the brake guard unit, our test car needed 190 feet to stop. That is without the driver making any attempt to limit lock by modulating the brake pedal. We tried the same test with the brake guard installed. The driver using the same technique, the car needed only 160 feet to stop. Notice, however, there's still visible wheel lock. Feeling better about the system after the wet track testing, well, we decided to try a turn and brake maneuver. With a typical braking system, as in this car, here's what happens when you put the brake pedal to the floor and try to negotiate a turn at the same time. You end up going straight. We bolted on the brake guard unit and tried the test again. The car was able to turn while under full braking. This maneuver is the best practical test we can think of for an anti-lock brake system. And the brake guard safety system passed that test. But something you need to be aware of, in addition to the price of the system itself, they tell us at the factory that the brake system on the car has to be in absolutely perfect condition. So you may have to spend some money on overhauling or repairing the brake system in addition to the cost of this. You also have to keep the brake system in good operating condition to make sure that the brake guard system works. Now, if you have a question about your car, how about writing to me? If I select your letter to be answered on the air, I'll send you a Motorweek t-shirt. The address is Motorweek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117. That's Motorweek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117.